It is now exactly 4 p.m. and we'll start our meeting. Doris,
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
present.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Here.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Here.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Here.
Honorable Chaz Klein.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. For silent meditation, we just finished Father's Day. And I know it's a little bit late, but let's keep our fathers in mind. And for those that we have lost and those that we still are lucky enough to give us 15 seconds of silence in that memory. Thank you. Chad, would you lead us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag. I have a motion for the agenda. A second.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Klein.
So I said some hesitation because we just got back from Mali. And during the meeting at Mali, it is not necessary to approve the agenda during the regular commission meeting. Because the agenda is 72 hours at least in advance. And that's the approval part. So I'll leave it up to you whether you want to put it on the agenda or not.
I do want to keep it on there in case you guys have any changes, and that's the reason why we do have it on there, in case there's any kind of amendments, if you have to take something off or stuff like that. So that's why we did leave it on there. So I would recommend leaving it, but it's up to you as the governing
Yeah.
body.
I think we leave it in case we need changes.
Mhm.
I guess what we wouldn't need is a roll call. You could say all in favor.
Yeah,
Because it wouldn't need individual approval
Yeah, just that was it.
sounds good.
after the 60 seconds we just talked.
Okay. All right, we're moving on to commission comments. Any commissioners have any comments?
I said my comments from my report on first meeting of July.
Just the pool is on fire.
Good.
Literally. 4-H is having a fundraiser at the Eagles tomorrow from 5 to 8. Hot dog bar, so come get your wieners.
That when the swim team's having a fundraiser at the brewery for 5 to 7 on Saturday.
No fundraisers?
I'll reserve my report for the next meeting. Any staff comments, Andrew Whitehead?
Mayor Pro Tem Commission, I would make just a couple of quick brief items. Week is 4th of July. We'll be hosting our 3rd of July Friday evening celebration has a parade attached to it. We'll be meeting next time to kind of put that together. And then, of course, excited to have 2D playing downtown as a street festival. So kind of excited about that. We're working just all fronts, all projects. We have 3.5 projects. I say half because we're trying to get the Cantrell, come to get so we can go to bid for that. But we're really busy on all fronts. And then I would like to just say to the commission, thank you. We're in the employee structure. It's just good. Our public works director, Bo, is really hitting the things and working with staff. And it feels really good to have that coordination. So we're well on our way.
Good, thank you. We have no one for public comment. On to consent calendar, which consists of 2 items. Item D1, acknowledge purchase report, items under 60,000. And item D2, take home vehicle form, animal control. Any questions, concerns?
I make a motion.
Second.
Doris, have a motion and a second.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Klein.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
I didn't go to Mali. I remember my year, and it was also consent calendar was also the individual roll call. It was all in favor.
We may do
It could
I
save us,
thought about that just.
it could save us 20 seconds.
Move on to new business. Item E1, discussion action approval of new fiscal year 26-27 open purchase orders over 60,000. Again,
Thank you, Mayor, and Tim,
You-
Commissioners. Forgot my paper here, but in case I need it, but. Hold on. So. The way it was done before had all the requisitions in the system. But we haven't moved over the interim budget yet. But these are, what we have listed are. What we have listed are the ongoing services for the fiscal year. So we, I broke down what, like the loans and for the hospital cost and tax and rev. And then we moved into the estimated, costs for services like for the utilities, the copiers, the New Mexico Self-Insurance Fund, Tyler, these are ongoing continuously. And we added the electric department's contract services as well. And then the breakdown on page 67 is the cost associated with all the departments, which was estimated. So could put this nice report together for us. And this is how she tracks it throughout the year to know how much utilities and gas usage with TDS, electric, so on, for each department is utilized throughout the year. And then I just put the beginning pages of the electric service agreement because it's like a book. So this is just to keep it going. When they do the requisition for these services, we'll attach this document, and then anything 60,000 and over for the first meeting in July that's not on this document will come for approval at that time and for the rest of the year. So I stand for any questions.
okay. So if I understand this correctly, you're asking us for approval for
Yes,
those documents that are routine
Yes, sir.
And
This is
reoccurring?
ongoing.
between 20 and 60,000. We're going to have city manager scrutiny and approval before we'll actually see those items. Is that correct?
So these are items that there's a couple of between 20 and 60, but the majority are 60 and over.
Right, okay.
But he will approve them in the Tyler system based on the packets and the requisition with all the supporting documentation prior to it flipping to a purchase order at that time.
Okay, and then when will we see them as being approved? Will we?
We can add them if you want.
Should they be part of the consent?
Mayor Pro Tem, again, unfortunately, the title says purchase orders above 60 again, except for a few exceptions that are in there. Effectively, you're granting finance and ourselves the permission orders for each one of these items in front of you. Items has to continue operating on July 1st.
Right.
So you won't necessarily see them back. Now, for sure, we could add those to next July's budget to show the purchase order has been let for each one of them. But again, just to give you a clear example, you can see Sierra Vista Hospitals on here at 500,000. That's the gross receipt tax we collect for them, and it has to pass through. So that purchase order then would allow SOCA to make that payment in July to continue on with Sierra Vista Hospital. So there are no items in here that aren't consistent, regular, normal payments that the city has to make. Our insurance payment, interest to Bank of the Southwest, the Tech 45 at the airport. That makes sense. And then the large ones down for the electric department, just to brief you again on that. Go back up one if you would. Keep going up a little bit.
Tyler, Verizon.
Keep going. No, I'm back up we're getting right there. This one. This is so we can pay the wholesalers to purchase our power that we sell. So we'll be paying Tri-State for the delivery cost. We pay for the solar power, Sierra Electric for our usage power, and WAPA for power. And that PO would be consistent throughout the entire year.
So there's technically nothing new here. This is,
Right.
these are ongoing. So we just, for audit purposes, to be clear, we're for approval to this is for these. As soon as they hear.
And asking that we don't have to look at these every time. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Correct.
But if you want all the POs,
No, I don't.
I don't think the routine stuff serves us a purpose to have to review because it has to be done anyway.
Correct.
I mean.
And we
how
do see
we'll
these at
have-
budget time anyways. We know what.
What's the check and balance?
Well, this is the check and balance for you to see that these are actually normal, everyday course of business. They're not procured something new.
Right.
That's the opportunity for you to see them and then issue the purchase order. Now, again, I have to approve the purchase orders in the system consistent with this document, right? So we couldn't approve something that's not in this document. And that was the point finance officer is making. If anybody didn't get with us to say we need to put in at this time, they're going to have to come back in July. So technically July 1st, if there was a payment due, we could not process that payment till you approve that PO over 60.
And then and then the actual final purchase order packet, before Gary approves it, it'll have the supporting documentation, the agreements, whatever applies to,
And how will this help the auditor?
that it's approved and consistent,
Correct.
complete.
Would it be beneficial to have this exact thing come back early and just say, just for peace of mind and showing what we're approving every year?
Mayor Pro Tem Commissioner, 100%. And what Jocelyn and I missed last year is that the city had been doing that. They had a form that they had been submitting. We just didn't get it done. And then July 1st, our electric department was really panicked because we had a $400,000 bill from Sierra Electric Co-op and we couldn't pay it because we didn't have a purchase order. And then that's when we went back and found the document where they had gone through. And so that's what I presented to Jocelyn, and then she did the work this year to prepare it. So you're absolutely right. This is part of our, I call it land in the plane. Starting again, we have to do these items so that we can continue operating.
But the prior document had the requisitions and system, which took more time, and this avoid delay.
All right. I think I understand. Do we have any further discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem, Commission, I do want to point out, if you'll go to the utility bills now, scroll down from that document. So the first document that you're going to see here, the 717,000. Remember, every department, every building we have is on a meter and we pay utilities just like a consumer. Now, in the middle of last year, because we were running high, I came and presented to allow us to charge our electric rate at our tipping, effectively our tipping fee, right? What we're paying at cost. And then I added a small amount so that the utility department grows. So the 717,000, you're authorizing us to pay our utility bills to our individual departments. If you scroll down, the second group, those are purchase orders for individual departments that may use different utilities or the transfer station. So again, if electric goes and cuts a bunch of trees and they need to go tip them, they've got a PO. The one that I want to draw your attention to is the 505, the sanitation. The sanitation department does not pay $535,000 in utilities. We will have to make a correction, and you'll see that on a budget adjustment in a moment. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but in our final budget, that number will go back down to a more realistic. There's a the sanitation department is using for measuring what they bring across the scales, and we missed that, and we actually thought that was a real bill, and we were paying that bill. So we were actually paying ourselves, and that's how that number ended up being so high. So we'll correct that in the budget, in the bar. I'll explain that a little more, but that will not be, we don't pay, sanitation does not pay $500,000 in utility costs.
So I'd like to make a clarification on the electric, the utility portions, we don't put in a purchase order because they're exempt from the procurement code, so she can make direct payment. This is approval of the cost that we're gonna have to utilize, but some of the other ones will be in purchase order.
And I had a question about what we pay Sierra Electric. It says the Mims area would pay Sierra Electric for that. Where exactly are we talking? I know that's not, that doesn't really make.
So,
Good.
so from my understanding of my conversation with Bo, when you pass Third Street going, is that one?
No, the east,
That's
definitely
your
east, not
area, that area up there.
Uh-huh.
The city doesn't provide or have the capability to provide the services, so we contract with Sierra Electric to cover the rest of the town in that general direction.
Right, but why are we paying Sierra Electric if those consumers are paying Sierra Electric?
Are you sure? Mayor Pro Tem. So you have two opportunities. First of all, Sierra Electric Co-op serves the rodeo arena area because it was part of the county before it was annexed and it was in their service area. So Sierra Electric still provides, you would be one of those customers paying Sierra Electric on that particular. Now, water and wastewater pays to the city. We buy our wholesale power from Tri-State and it has to come through Sierra Electric. Sierra Electric, Tri-State can only sell power to a co-op. So the city, at some portion, I've not dug into it, into the history, but at some portion, Sierra Electric Co-op and the City of Truth and Consequences put together a proposal so that we could buy power from Tri-State. The main line that you see that runs over the golf course, you've heard me talk about us wanting to add another transformer and a substation there because that's the Tri-State line. So Sierra Electric Co-op is a conduit for us to buy our wholesale power, which we sell to the rest of the city. Likewise, we receive, because we're part of the Western Area Power Association, WAPA, we're able to buy power through WAPA, which is hydro generated. So we get some consideration. We get a discount on our Tri-State line for what we buy from WAPA. And then the third place that you receive power from is the solar plant. So we receive power, so we lease to them the land, and then we buy back power. So that's why you would say, we have two bills. You have a consumer bill because you were part of that. As a member of Sierra Electric, you're a member of the co-op.
That we're
And-
buying the power from them.
And then the City of Truth and Consequences purchase the power from Tri-State, through Sierra Electric.
Gotcha.
And then Sierra Electric gleans a little bit of profit off of that, not a lot. And then of course, then we also pay Tri-State for the distribution lines. We have to pay for the highway, if you will, to bring the power to us.
What we.
Did I miss that?
No, yeah,
It's an education.
you got it. I just. Had nothing to do with approving purpose regulations.
Okay,
So these will be,
Yeah.
they'll be a drawing.
Okay.
Is that?
Sure, that was my question.
do we have any further discussions?
Make a motion to approve the new fiscal year 27 open purchase requisition orders over 60.
Before you, but you need to be, I'm just asking, do you need to be more specific since we had this back and forth discussion about exactly what purchase you're approving and the amounts, or are you referring basically just to the printout that has a list, or?
In the packet.
Yeah, so we're going services within the.
Is that satisfactory, Gary? Are we do it that way?
Tim, Jay, yes.
Okay.
Again, the motion would only include those items attached and in the packet for approval.
And technically, I guess we shouldn't say just over 60,000 because there are,
That's correct.
so it shouldn't say over 60,000. It should just say as presented from the day-to-day service and agreements that we have in place.
Yeah, it's in the first paragraph. This 20 and.
Yeah, just put all that. In our new business E1, it says over 60,000. So
Yes.
that's what I was.
All right.
So are you clear with the motion?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a second?
So Mayor Pro Tem seconded it,
Okay.
and then Honorable Chaz Glines, Honorable Rob Pasqua, Honorable Dustin Mitchell, Honorable Amanda Forster,
Right.
Honorable Ingo Hopper.
Me too. discussion action, MOU between the city of Truth Consequences and Hot Springs Cemetery Association. Jay Ashley.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. This is I've been working with the association for the past several years. It's been going on for 14 years plus. Everything, the services and everything will stay the same in the current MOU that we are requesting approval for today. The only difference is a slight increase from 4,000 annually to 4,800 annually. This was budgeted for. We've been paying them $4,000 for the past several years. In our last cemetery meeting that we had, we felt it was reasonable to ask for a slight increase for contract labor for cemetery services that include landscaping over there. So with that, the MOU is for this fiscal year and can be extended up to 3 additional years. So with that, I'll ask for any questions.
And on note, the contract was revised from what was in the packet. The packet originally had a different number, but it is $4,800. It's $1,200 per quarter.
Correct.
Yes.
It is 48.
And the packet does say that.
We caught it before the commission meeting. So.
Perfect.
How many employees do they have?
One.
Okay.
Jay,
Kind of what I thought.
seeing him work, it's a pleasure to watch him work. He gets after it out there. He communicates well with the city. With the city, like he prunes trees, things of that nature. He'll pile them up. He'll call us to let him know that we need to come get them. Any sunken graves out there, things of that nature, he calls us. We go and we fill them in. So they're a good partner, and they have been a good partner for the city.
Sounds like a great deal for us.
Yeah, definitely $100.
Yeah.
Pay him, pay the guy.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on this? Somebody make a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the MOU between the city of Truth Consequences and Hot Springs Cemetery Association for $4,800.
I'll second that.
Okay, Doris.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Burns.
Hey,
Honorable Ross Festival. Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Ford.
All right, item E3, discussion action contract for services agreement between City of Truth Consequences and Manana.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, this is just an extension request. The new contract was approved last year. This is for landscape services, grounds maintenance over at the Veterans Memorial Park. I had a pretty good discussion with Manana, aka Paul Bustamante. He wants to renew this contract for the same services: tree pruning, watering, irrigation, fixing occasional water leak out there, and fertilization, and weed control, of course. So with that, I'll stand for any questions and request approval for that.
And then who actually supervises that contract?
The parks does, which I do. So
Okay.
yes.
You actually already had approved the contract last year. All we're doing is approving the extension. So there's the last page in the packet.
It comes back for you.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU between the city of Jersey and the Hot Springs Cemetery. Nope. And the city and Manana, sorry.
Second. Motion in a second.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell. Honorable Amanda Foster. Honorable Ingo Hopner. Honorable Charles Burns. Honorable Ross Festival.
New business continues. Number 4, discussion action, vector control agreement for Village of Williamsburg.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, we met with the village. We had a discussion. The only changes that the current agreement with the village expires this year. And it had a language in there like you could not subcontract this and that. As we know, this year we're going in a different direction where we will need to subcontract these services, right? So for this agreement, the services will include a minimum of 4 sprays per month, also as an on-call as needed basis. So, in talking with the contractor, we feel like consistency and being proactive in the spraying and the mitigation of mosquitoes is going to be necessary. So, and then obviously we added the language in there that the city can subcontract these services, and then it would be a 5-year term, and either party can terminate the notice or with a 30-day written notice. So. Be simple, I'll ask for any questions on that one.
I just saw something that fact. I know you and I have come back here, or
So-
just.
Thanks for bringing that up, Jay. It's actually, it's for a 5-year term, but during mosquito.
The reason, okay, the one, I know we went back. Last week, somebody just said, 4 vector control treatments per month. But it doesn't specify just for the 4-month, just for that 4-month period though, correct? Well,
Under compensation, it does say July through October for 4 months per year during the term of this agreement.
yep.
Page 122. Number 4.
I just showed you. I think the last one is it's just one. I think maybe okay. That was all right. So it's okay. It does say July through October. Okay, okay. So good enough. My bad. All right, got the right one.
And anything outside of that will need prior approval for outside of them.
Is that when we start our vector control also? July 1, better said.
So all these contracts that we have run simultaneous.
They do. So far, we've got one with the village and we've got one with the county. Okay, I heard this last week, Elton Buttes next. So. So we'll find out.
Better get some more, any trucks, vector trucks to me.
Actually, he's got, I know. Oh.
He'll be working hard for that money.
Okay, we have any discussion?
I just have a question. So at the last meeting, I thought it was June 1st next year. We were starting them spraying instead of July 1st. This year, we're doing it July 1st. Next year, be June 1st. It'll be a month behind us.
It's a different year. I mean, a different fiscal year.
Yeah, we're starting all the contracts July 1st. July 1st will be starting, 5-year term, and either side of, we understand this is gonna be kind of a,
Next year.
Well, because this year we didn't have anybody for vector control, and yeah, because it's only being approved now, then it'll start in July, and then it'll, because we have it in place next year, it'll start in June, like we'll already have it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, that's a motion.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve the vector control agreement for the village of Williamsburg.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Todd Gordon.
Okay. Motion carries unanimously. All right, the next 5 or 6 items have to do with sub-recipients. We've already gone through many of these. Got through lots of, this should go very quick, but we'll certainly have entertaining questions. So item E5, discussion action, FY 26-27 sub-recipient grant agreement for Geronimo Trail Scenic Byway.
Thank you, Mayor. So these first 3 items are from our city's lodgers tax fund. Our first one from Geronimo Trail Scenic Byway, they requested $5,600, and we are recommending the approval of that amount for $5,600. And all of these applicants already presented to you guys during budget.
And these are coming out of our.
So this one's lodgers tax, the ones after that are the general fund, so
Okay,
this one's,
okay, so
yeah.
this still comes out of our.
Yeah, these are for like the marketing and stuff like that, yeah. So I'll recommend approval for $5,600 to Geronimo Trail Scenic Byway.
Make a motion to approve the sub-recipient grant for Geronimo Trails in the amount of $5,600.
Call it sub-recipient agreement. How it's actually like the word, well, if you have grant agreement, I like to have the agreement, because actually what's really important about all these contracts is that I find that they set forth in detail the benefits we're receiving. So it's not really a grant, we're getting something in exchange. It's how I always look at this.
Yeah, and I also have suggested. Okay,
Okay. Honorable Ingo Hopner. Honorable Charles Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell. Honorable Amanda Forster.
Yeah, it's really good, because actually the contract itself actually is called sub-recipient agreement. It's attached to, it's part of the package.
Grant
Yeah,
agreement.
yeah, right.
Do you want me to just start going through them?
Yeah, go ahead and go with, 6.
Okay, so E6 is for the subrecipient grant agreement for Sierra County Historical Society, which is our Geronimo Springs Museum. So the request for this was for $10,000, and we are recommending approval of the $10,000 that was requested.
All right, have any discussion?
But they are moving from the 36, last year was 6,500 that we gave them, and this year it's 10.
Yeah, because last year, they didn't have enough to cover the expenses for like utilities and stuff, so they requested a little bit more to cover that this year.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, we also, the request for the Veterans Museum as well. So we tried to just match both of those and provide both museums $10,000, which museums are eligible expenses under Liars, and balance it between promotions and facilities, and they could choose how they want to use both of those funds. But so tried to give both of the museums a little more operating capital. They're struggling with utilities and insurance costs, just like the rest of us.
I make a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement for Historical Society, Geronimo Springs Museum in the amount of $10,000.
A second.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ron Fessler.
Aye.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
I,
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hub.
Okay.
Okay, so our next one, E7, is for the subrecipient grant agreement for Main Street to their consequences. So this fiscal year, they requested $65,000, and we are recommending the full amount of $65,000.
Be the same as last year.
Yeah.
this is not money for Fiesta.
No, there's, yeah, for like Fiesta, they'll still have to go to lodger's tax, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement for Main Street, Tier C in the amount of $65,000.
I second.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ron
Aye.
Fessler. Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
I,
Carries unanimous. Item E8, go ahead now.
Okay, so on E8, so these ones moving forward, these are gonna be out of our general fund. Some of them, we're not recommending the full amount requested just because we only had $50,000 to allocate, so we had to cut some of the funds that were requested. So on E8, this is a subrecipient grant agreement from the club. They requested $10,000 for this fiscal year, and we are recommending the full amount of $10,000.
And we already went through this in budget, correct?
Yes, we did all of these applications.
So, and we already, that's what we cut.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement, for the club in the amount of $10,000.
A second. Thank you.
Honorable Ron Fessler. Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
I,
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Okay, so E9, this is a subrecipient grant agreement from the SJOA, the Sierra Joint Office on Aging. Their request this year was for $50,000. However, we are recommending the allocation of $25,000. And that's what they were allocated last year.
Ready, discussion?
That's because they had 50 total was split.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the subrecipient grant agreement for Sierra Joint Office on Aging in the amount of $25,000.
I'll second it.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ron Fessler.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, on E10, this is a subrecipient grant agreement for the Domestic Abuse Intervention Center. Their request this year was for $3,500, and we are recommending approval for the entire amount of $3,500.
I'll make a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement for the Domestic Abuse Intervention Center in the amount of $35,000.
Second.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hashbar. Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Okay, so our next one, E11, is a subrecipient grant agreement for the Companion Animal Action Team. Their request this year was for $1,500, and we are requesting the full, or we are recommending the full amount of $1,500.
I will make a motion to approve the subrecipient grant agreement for CAT in the amount of $1,500.
I'll second that.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hashbar.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
And number 12.
Okay, so E12 is our subrecipient agreement for Matthew 25. This year, their request was for $10,450. However, we're recommending the allocation of $10,000.
I'll make a motion to approve the subrecipient grant agreement for Matthew 25 in the amount of $10,000.
A second.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hashbar. Honorable Destiny Mitchell. Honorable Amanda Forster. Honorable Ingo Hopner.
So just for clarification, items E5 and 12, we went through them very quickly. However, all the subrecipients had a chance to present to us during budget what they're asked and the reasons for the ask. So it sounds like we also threw these things, we went through them quickly. That's the reason we previously received the information for presentation. Okay.
We both said the same.
All right, let's move on to item E13, discussion action, appointment of Andrew Curry to serve a 2-year term on the Public Utility Advisory Board. Doris.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Commissioners. On our Public Utility Advisory Board, we do have one vacancy open. We received one application from Andrew Curry. We did do our advertisement, and that's the only one we've received. We took it to the board, and the board appointed, or they recommended approval with a 2-to-1 vote. We only had 3 members present, 2 voted yes, 1 voted no. But I am recommending approval just because it's difficult for us to get people to serve on this board, so.
Yeah, it's hard. We never have, sorry, you didn't open it. Sorry. I know we don't get enough people interested in this, and that's why I saw the 2-to-1, but we don't have like minutes from that board or anything. So can you give us a rundown on what happened here? Because I mean,
I forgot that.
really, I mean, that's majority vote. Yes, I get that, but technically not on a board. It's not.
So-
not a 3-to-1.
So my understanding is one of the members, went out in the community, he asked about this applicant, and due to the applicant being very vocal, he just didn't feel he would be a great suit for the board, so that's why he voted no. So that was just a personal opinion, I guess, on his part.
So if we appoint this person to the board, is that going to cause turmoil within that board that's already there?
2 members already approved. So that's
Two
quite
voted.
the majority, right?
Yeah,
Because did we have a quorum during that?
we did have a quorum,
Because 3 is
because
the
3 of them
three
were
is a
quorum,
quorum.
yeah,
Majority vote.
yeah.
It's a majority vote of your quorum, but of the board.
But I mean, I would say if you guys do appoint him, we can kind of give it a test run. If stuff doesn't work out the way it does and it's supposed to, we can maybe get other applicants and kind of see where it goes from there. Yeah, so it's not a permanent thing, I guess.
I just had a question, and I don't know if it's for Mayor Whitehead or for you guys, but, Mayor Whitehead. Sorry.
Mayor Whitehead. Oh, my sister.
Yeah, right. Do board members and like the PAUB and all these, do they get trainings? Do they get a book that says what they can and can't do? Like, do they have an orientation or something that, like, for example, they know that when they're on the board that they can't go on Facebook and blast the city or blast this or whatever kind of
We give them copies of like the Governmental Conduct Act, the Open Meetings Act, stuff like that. Because they're advisory boards, we don't send them to training. But we do provide them with like the city code and stuff like that, so.
Well, that was just my concern.
And then planning and zoning does have an actual rules of procedure specifically for planning and zoning.
I would think you have the right to table this item and ask the applicant to come to the next meeting. It's something.
I mean, it's up to
We
you.
could do that. I know Mr. Curry, Susan Curry's son, he's come to the office many times. And all my interactions with him have been positive. He's always been supportive of the community. Certainly with his mom and, and helping us out for certain items. So I don't have a problem with the appointment at all, but some of you may not know him like I know, so.
Yeah, and again, just asking my questions is because of the vote and that it wasn't, I mean, yes, it's a majority vote, but it's not a majority
Right.
vote of the board. And so that was just my concern of,
Yeah, we don't want to put somebody on there that is like arch enemy of another board member
Correct.
and cause even more trauma.
When is their next meeting, do you know?
They went to quarterly, so it's what, July, yeah, next month.
Would it be appropriate to table and ask them to reconsider the appointment when they have a full board?
Yeah, we can do that. We can put it back on
And
that.
then let's put it back on their shoulders, and I'd like to hear from the entire board, and they can make that recommendation. And then we can deal with it at that time, because we're not losing it or gaining anything right now by making the appointment, right?
No,
Okay,
I think that's really good idea.
okay.
I think in the future too, like minutes of the vote.
Yeah, that was my fault. I forgot to.
Applicant and he's present.
let's do that.
Okay, so
I'll make a motion to table, until the full board is convened and they can make a recommendation on Mr. Curry's appointment.
Honorable Travis Klein,
Hi.
Honorable Ralph Hessler, Honorable Destiny Mitchell,
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster,
Aye.
Honorable Ingrid Costello.
It's tabled. Is
Got it.
on to 14, discussion action, reappointment of Chris Sisney to serve a 2-year term on the Public Utility Advisory Board.
So Mr. Sisney, he has been serving for 2 years. His term, is up this year or this month in June. So he was interested in reapplying. We didn't get any other applicants besides Mr. Curry. So, we did take it to the board and it was a unanimous vote to reappoint him to the board. So I recommend approval.
Thank
That's
you.
what I like to see.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Sisney been solid in that regard, and I appreciate his service, and I'm glad that he's wanting to serve again. So with that, I'll open up for further discussion.
Again, I like
If
to
not-
see a unanimous, yes, again, only 3 were present, but 3 is a majority even with the 5-member board. So
There you go. So may I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the reappointment of Chris Sisney to the serve 2-year term on the UA.
I'll second that.
Right, thank you.
Honorable Ingo Hauptmann,
Aye.
Honorable Travis Klein,
Hi.
Honorable Ralph Hessler,
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell, Honorable Amanda Forster.
Carried, all right. The ordinances, resolutions, and zoning, item 1, discussion action, resolution number 58, 2526, budget adjustment request. Ms. O'Gean.
Okay, so when we set up the 1018, we knew we were gonna do the transfer in for the utilities. As we mentioned earlier with the landfill, cost that we were initially paying through the 1018, we found that adjustment, and technically the bar would have been bigger if we hadn't found that adjustment. But that was an internal transfer, and when we came back a couple of months ago, it was a higher amount. But since we found that we were paying for the landfill out of the 1018, we did an internal transfer and cleaned that portion up. So you probably don't remember, but we had budgeted 600,000, but we initially didn't budget the full amount that I intended for the fiscal year. So that being said, with the shortfall of the entire budget not being included initially, and then the remaining of services, this is to cover the remaining of the fiscal year utilities for June, and where we're currently short from the overage for not being fully budgeted. And we broke it down evenly and, the amounts are listed and broken down so to show where the adjustments are. So it's basically the increase for the budget shortfall. Hope I explained that. Well, I don't think so.
We're just moving money around within the city, right, just to make sure that folks balance.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, just to be a little supportive, again, as I've said to you before, at this point, we're landing the plane. We can't end any budget line item with a negative. This is the last of the large increases that we need to take care of. Last year in the budget, we were not fully aware of all the utility costs that the city paid. As I said, it was a kind of new to both Jocelyn and I. And then there was a spreadsheet that Jocelyn was using that had the general fund side of the house and the enterprise side fund. Well, the enterprise fund, I think, didn't get into her final numbers to go into the budget. So that's where the 600 came from versus the 750 budget that she had projected to use. So in the middle of the year, when we realized our utility budget was going over, that's when we started looking to see why were our costs so high. That A, helped us find the issue with the solid waste department. And then B, helped her locate that she forgot to add that 250, it just didn't get put in. So we adjusted the rates. As you remember, I came and said, let's lower our utility rates. And I asked Jocelyn to, let's see where that gets us if that doesn't get us close to a cleanup. Well, it got us to within 129,000 of being budgeted and balanced. So at this point, we're asking for an adjustment to the city utility bills in the amount of 129,000. And then Jocelyn's projection would be to take a balanced approach, 21,000 from the general fund, as well as each of our enterprise funds to cover our cost to pay for our water, sewer, wastewater, and solid waste. So technically you are right. We are moving money from one of our pockets to another one, but it has to balance and her budget has to end all positive. So this will
No, I
clean up the
understand
last.
that.
There was a bit in the interim last year. It just wasn't put in the final. It was off. And then when the amounts looked adding up, that's when we discovered the landfill portion.
It's better to find it now than later.
It was a mistake, but a good one.
The learning curve on both of our parts for sure.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay. Any further discussion? Any good?
With that, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 582526 ER request as
Second,
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Klein.
Aye.
Honorable Rob Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
aye.
Carried. F2, discussion action resolution number 592526, authorizing acceptance of Water Trust Board project number 6947. Water WPF funding offer, water conveyance and treatment project from New Mexico Finance Authority. Yeah, you don't have to say that.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Commissioners. As you know, we applied for Water Trust Board Fund for improvements for our wastewater treatment plant. We received the notice of award, and as part of the process to accept the grant funds and proceed forward with the loan and grant agreement, a resolution is required to accept their award. The project award will be a grant in the amount of $2,270,488. It'll require a loan in the amount of $252,277, and we will also have a required cash match of $2,052,276. That'll give us a total project fund for that whole project of $2,775,000. So resolution's required to accept it. And with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to City Manager Whitehead. I think he wants to expand a little bit with this funding.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, really excited today to bring this to you, have Tracy present this. Over the last year and a half, we've talked about all the water improvements that are happening. And of course, one of the first meetings I attended when I joined the city was an environmental meeting that I had to attend via Zoom, that our wastewater plant was in an administrative order. And we've been working diligently going forward. The nice part, in simple terms, this pot of money would put us right over the $5 million mark for our wastewater treatment plant. It opens the door for us to facilitate all the necessary repairs at the wastewater plant to completely move out of the administrative order. What's nice is we've already started the process. We contracted with Bohannon Houston to be our engineer on the wastewater side of the house. They've already started designing for the weirs and the headworks project. We'll be able to move right diligently into the next phases particularly of this project. So, and what's significant about that is we talked about the rate increase. We're still going to have to look, and I plan to present to the commission my final decision on rates and rate increases. I had asked the study to look at our need to borrow $5 million to renovate the waste plant. We've now achieved that goal through grants and grant processes. We'll be using a little bit of our general obligation funds. So it's really nice. We have not obligated the fourth GO bond, which we have to present. So that will cover the match side of this particular project. Plus I have set aside a little bit of money from the second and the third allocation of those bonds to do wastewater repairs. So again, and then we also were notified 3 months ago that we did receive a grant from the federal government for our Clancy lift station extension. So at this point, we are very comfortable and confident to tell you that raising and borrowing the $5 million for the wastewater plant will not have to happen, which is great. So that will take that 15 to 25% rate increase on that off. And primarily we'll be able to get the wastewater plant probably in a 10 to 15 year health cycle by the funds that we have available to us. So we worked hard at this. We had to make a couple of special trips to get these funds, but we're thrilled. We have the money, we have the grant, we have the match, and we can afford the loan on this particular site. So I wanted to give you that presentation, and then we would support Tracy and ask that you approve it, accept the grant and the loan.
Okay, thank you. Good. Great notification of that's happening. It's great news. We were looking at a significant rate increase. We weren't able to get these funds. So it was a good plan to try to get those funds. Thank you for making that extra trip. We got awarded. We have enough projects going on that sometimes we get questioned where we are with the projects. And sometimes people question whether they should fund us or not. We have so much going on. And I think that's what happened in this circumstance. And Mr. Whitehead had to kind of convince the folks that we're on target with our spending. We had our engineering done. We're doing the things we're supposed to be doing, and they should award us the money, and it worked out. So thanks for doing that for us.
Absolutely.
This is good news. Okay. Yeah, a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 5925/26 as presented.
Our second.
Honorable Justin Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forrester.
Aye.
Honorable Eva Hoffman. Honorable Taz Gordon.
Aye.
Honorable Ron Huffman.
Have pre-discussion action resolution number 60/2526, participation in local government road fund program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation and execute grant agreement, co-op project fund. Brendan, welcome back.
Hello, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. We're asking to approve Resolution 61.5/26. This is the LGRF. To recap, it is from Second and Date to Ash. The reason we're asking for the extension and the approval of this resolution is title changes in the city, as well as me trying to learn, and as well as materials that may be used up with the other construction companies coming in, and we just want to play on the safe side and make sure that we have enough time to complete this project and not fall on face with it. Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, we also like to approve 60/2526 for the same reasons, and this one is on Second and Pershing all the way down to Main Street, and no scope change or anything of that nature. It's just strictly we're concerned about everything that's going on with the city, with the projects and title change and structure of everything that we just want to make sure that we're going to head and get this done on time.
Franklin, are these projects to be done in-house?
Not necessarily. They're going to be done through the grants, but they're just no in-house funding.
Mayor Pro Tem, let me help Brendan a little bit. He's doing a great job here, but to add to that question specifically, no, we are not going to be building roads. We've kind of redirected our team. Brendan's doing a great job of moving us to a maintenance, and then he has to learn how to administer. So that's been
There you go.
effectively what we're asking for is an extension of time on both of these as Brendan's getting his skills up to know how we're going to find and be able to contract with a different provider. So the scope of work is going to remain the same. We're just going to attack it a little bit different.
And these did previously come to the commission, and you guys approved the grants and accepted the award.
We
It's just in order to request an extension of time, they require a new resolution.
I guess my question was, because it's not a whole lot of funds we're dealing with.
Mayor Pro Tem and Brendan could answer, but again, we're dealing with a $86,000 project, 64,000 in grant funds, 21,000 in match funds. So no, it's not a large. And when we designed the project and applied for it, we'd asked for almost 300,000 to do the road, and we ended up with 86,000. So we had to kind of change the scope a little bit to get it to work. And then again, trying to revamp and get so that we can get contractors in to build these roads. We need to be a little bit nimbler on our roads. We recognize it.
Thank you.
When I looked at the packet, I said, well, okay, there's an agreement in here, but where's the resolution? Because that's what you're approving. But actually, the resolution is in there. It's the Exhibit C to the contract, and it's identical to what we had last year, except the date. So, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, any other discussion? Okay. Please.
Well, make a motion to approve resolution number 60, as presented.
I'll second that.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Sorry.
Honorable Destiny
Aye.
Mitchell. Honorable Amanda Forster. Honorable Ingo Hopner. Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then he did both of them together, so we'll approve one now.
Make a motion.
Second that.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
F5, discussion and action, resolution number 62, 2526, in support of the infrastructure capital improvement plan for Sierra Joint Office Summit. Ms. Walton?
Sorry, how do you do that?
There's a little break.
So, the SOA is asking for the approval of our resolution for which we already held our public hearings and have board approval on our capital infrastructure plan that was provided to you all. The SGA has been working very diligently with city manager and assistant city manager, as well as the facilities and maintenance people, in order to kind of establish a little bit more of an extensive listing for capital projects. And so, as you can see there, we're still working on our walk-in freezer, the secondary set, which has been a little confusing, I guess, for the state that we asked for 2 different sets to be replaced. So we're just looking to continue with the additional funding in order to complete the secondary set replacement. The fire alarm system, as you all know, if any of you have been in our building, is quite old, and so we're looking to bring that up to speed. We've got a kitchen remodel on there that also kind of pertains to the fire alarm and the fire suppression system, which would be included within that, our hood vent and fire suppression system within the kitchen. So looking at more safety themes, our senior meal trucks, we are asking for this one here because anytime we have one of those trucks go down, we have to take them to Albuquerque for repair, and that is at least a 1 month wait prior to getting us back on track. And it's extremely difficult whenever we have that situation come about because we don't have a backup for that situation. So our guys are delivering out, you know, about 50 to 60 meals in a 2-hour window. And that's pretty hard to package whenever you're talking about, you know, hot bags and bricks that are heated in the oven. So that'll stand for any questions.
How's your staffing going?
We are short-staffed and we will continue to run short-staffed. We actually had to do away with some positions, and so services will be impacted by that this upcoming fiscal year.
Is it difficult to find people? Is that what's happening or?
No budget support
Budget.
for the money just isn't
So you
there.
don't have open positions, right?
Our RFP that we submitted was for 1.7 and they funded us 1. So I don't know how I can fundraise $700,000.
We just cut her too, so just throw that out there, right?
It wasn't a cut, it was just a sustained.
Well, I think we need that.
Thank you.
Discussions?
Mayor Pro Tem, let me just kind of always brief and keep things in order for you. So we are the fiscal agent for Sarah Joint Office on Aging. Their ICIP list, much like ours, goes to their funding source, right? Ours goes to the state, theirs goes to the Office on Aging. And then that group tries to put together a legislative package. And Crystal brought down her team from that group, and we were able to meet to kind of get a clearer picture as how we make these presentations and how we support. Currently, Tracy and Crystal work really well together. We're trying to be more active with them and try to help where we can. OJ has been very active at the building. We did apply for federal funds to do a renovation on the building in support of the items that they need, right? So we need to keep the shell healthy for them. And then they need to be able to put the assets in there to keep it running. So we're trying to make the best we can. And I think as Commissioner Forrester pointed out, she's going through troubles and cuts, and then, we didn't have enough funds to fund everything, and they use our funds for direct food cost. So as we go, potentially if our gross receipt tax increases, it could be one of the areas that you think and keep in your mind that maybe if we had some extra, you might want to find a way to fund that fully in the future at our mid-year or so. Okay. So we are partnering well, but hopefully we're doing a little better job for her, but we're still not shaking the trees for a lot of money. So
Keep that in mind. It's a valuable service. We have to appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I just have one question on the resolution template under the be it resolved, the resolution supersedes number
That's the one that was,
42, 25.
yeah, so that's the one that we approved last year. And so when this is approved, then, yeah.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve resolution number 6225/26 in support of the ICIP for SJOA.
Let's second. Doris?
Honorable Rob Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Travis Klein.
Aye.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster. Honorable Inga Hum.
Item 6, discussion and action resolution number 63, 2526, utility bill policies and procedures. Mr. Whitehead.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, what you have in front of you, we have 2 policies. Again, primary focus is as we're starting to try to improve our collections and the way that we handle things in the utility department. We needed to create this policy. We were kind of moved a little forward from the last audit, who identified that we were missing or many of our policies are many years out of date. So this is one of those policies. We work directly with the utility office director, Sonia Renfro, who reached out to peers in the same area to come up with the ideas and items in presentation and matched up against Chapter 14 of our code and the ordinance for utilities and utility collections to make sure that that it matched up. And so what you have in front of you here is a utility operations policy for utilities billing and collections. At this point, we'll stand for questions or recommend approval of the document.
Questions? Mr. Whitehead, one of the issues that we have from time to time is when we have landlords that have renters and the renters abscond and don't pay, and then we're not able to collect from the landlord. I'm not sure that this has been satisfied in this policy, and I'm a little worried about that. What else can we do to put more teeth into the policy so that the landlord can't open up that property again until that bill is paid? Because the city shouldn't be left holding the bag all the time.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, it's a great question. It definitely understand it needs more work. Attorney Rubin brought that up to our attention yesterday. One of the things that we've tried to do in the front end, so let's be fair and clear, the law in the state of New Mexico allows for a landlord to present a written notarized document to the city that would indicate that they are not liable for utility costs. And when they do so, we are immediately subject to then having to collect from the renter. So what I've instructed this team to do is they must collect a deposit. So we're no longer turning on utilities for a renter that without a deposit. Okay. We need to look at that and extend that a little bit longer into the future so that we can hold that deposit. Part two, we're trying to be more vigilant in recognizing that at 60 days, if we're not receiving payment, we need to move diligently to the red tag process. And then by 90 days, we need to be shutting that meter off so that effectively we at least have the deposit and we're out a short period of time versus trying to work with the renter and just try to keep it going. So that's the way we've been working it over the year. Clearly, the policy needs some additional work in that area. We've been trying to hire a collections. We had a collections person. We changed, and we've just recently, in the last 3 weeks, hired a new person, and we'll get back again to that process where we have somebody in-house paying attention to that and then doing so. The third part of that, Mr. Rubin and I have talked in a little bit of length about our process to file liens against those properties. There's two opportunities. Again, with a landlord situation, if they have that letter, we're going to be subject to filing against that person. But we also think if we have property owners that aren't paying their bills, there's process in state law that would allow us to file that lien against the property. We just need to explore it, kind of come to terms with it, have policy put in place, and then be able to, adjudicate that. We have a 4-year period of time in which we have to take action on that. That's a law on our part. And so there are a lot of debt that the city has carrying for years back that technically is gone. We need to present that to the auditors and get that written off as soon as we can develop and come up with our new book. But it remains a challenge. I think it's been better in the last year by us adding that requirement for a deposit on the books.
How much is the deposit?
Well, it would depend on your utility bill. So if we could see what the utility bill was in the past, it would be up to 1 month of that utility bill. So we would have effectively 30 days. If somebody didn't pay us for 90 days, we would lose 2/3 of the bill. But it would be, they calculate it based on previous usage on the property.
And there's no room to increase that deposit?
Absolutely. If the commission felt like they needed to look at it, we just haven't, we would need to present to you, but you certainly could make it a $200 deposit, a $500 deposit.
I think especially if they're repeated offenders,
Mhm.
then I think we do need to look at increasing and maybe a case by case basis. I don't want to do it for somebody that's good about paying their bill, like they don't need to have.
In this case, and again, I have to give the utility department director a lot of credit. They've worked hard this year and they are collecting. So if you left us a NOTA bill, even though we turned that off, if you come back in and say, can I turn power on a new rental? Not until you either pay some of the bill, and she's doing a really good job of, collecting half, 2/3, something, getting that in, making sure that we're doing a deposit. She's letting them make extra payments on the account to catch up with the deposit. She's got good notes. We have good policy. So we're attempting to make some strides on it, but it will always remain a challenge, right? People, they struggle. I want to be, benevolent to say a lot of people just have tough days, and paying their electric bill over food becomes a problem. So it's not just a habitual, people don't want to pay. And so, but you are correct. We could come up with a fee structure that would allow us to keep that. One of the things they've been doing is, at the end of the year, as you can see from the policy, we would refund you. So if you gave us a deposit at the end of the first year, we could send that back. I would change that in the new policy to say that last payment always remains and it's your final payment, right? You would come in and say, I'm going to turn the electric off. And then what we have is your deposit would go for your last payment so that we always have the ability to collect at least something if we ended up 90 days out.
And there's no way, and I'm not saying that this happens, but yeah, are we having somebody that maybe owns a property and they're letting people stay or whatever's happening, how they're forging this, and if they're throwing their hands up and say, well, I rented that property so I don't have to pay that bill. Is that happening more than?
Yes. We did clear a few bills 7-8 months ago from landlords that had that situation where people left and we left it, but they didn't have the letter on file. They hadn't found the law to do that. And so we did get them to pay, but you are having that. But in those cases, if the landlord hasn't signed a notarized letter that said they're not responsible, then the city could file on that particular landlord, and we could file a lien and put that on their property. But in fairness, if they came in with the letter, we couldn't hide. And then I'm also subject to saying, is it disingenuous of us not to make sure that landlords know the law, right? I don't know what our obligation is.
I also think it's the responsibility of the landowner to make sure that they also are collecting the deposits. And I don't ever, all my rentals are in my name and I make those people pay me directly so we don't ever run into this thing. So at some point they have to, I'm gonna go take that and I'm gonna make them do other things and I'm not gonna be responsible for it. There's lots of times that I've had to pay bills that maybe people ran out on.
Sure. Thank you for bringing it back to you. I talked about this yesterday. I asked the same question you did, Mr. Mayor, and we're talking about paragraph 3.2 and 3.3 of the policy. And I had the same concerns that you've had, but as Gary explained it about the 90-day provision, that's basically the cutoff, and the fact that we can increase deposits, it's something maybe you're trying to set a trial period. So, we would give it a try. One thing we also have to keep in mind is that we still have our ordinance book, which might conflict with what we're saying here. So we may well look at that as to whether we would need to repeal that or not. So that's something we can talk about down the road.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. We don't want to harm people unnecessarily. People do struggle from time to time, but then there are those that may be habitual or that had a past or have some issues that I don't want to get away with it. So I guess we have to kind of rely on the ability of our manager to deal with these things on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and our billing that sounds to me like they're doing a good job of taking on a case-by-case basis and helping people when they need it and being a stickler when they can.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Forster again, I think our utility director is doing just a great job. It's a good relationship. We talk a lot, listening, we're doing lots of good things. So at the end of the day, what I would ask here is part of this policy came because through our audit process, we need to get an updated policy. So we've attempted to create what we're currently doing consistent with Chapter 14 in our code. So that's what you have in front of you. I still need to do more work within the utility department to tighten that up and bring back what I would say would be an amended policy in the future for utility and utility collections. So.
Okay.
This is gonna help remove the current audit finding with these two policies as well. After, if you approve it and sign it, I will send it to the state as part of the corrective action.
So what you're saying is if we approve it, we still know this is a work in progress. So.
Mayor Pro Tem Commission, yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. That in mind, do I have a question?
Make a motion to approve resolution number 63/2526, utility office operations manual, policies and procedures.
Get that?
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Rob Hushbar.
Aye.
Honorable Dustin.
Aye.
Carried. Number 7, discussion action resolution number 64/2526, utility billing cash handling policy.
Got the A on Sonia. I didn't catch that. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, again, same concept. Within our audit last year, identified many policies that were out of date or inactive or inaccurate. The reason that our utility manager is involved, all cash handling comes through the utility department. Not only do they collect utility payments, they would collect any rent payment that we get. For example, we're currently renting space out south of or west of the fairground to the contractor that's doing the highway. They're paying us $800. They bring their cash in. That's where they make their payment. So it's not only utilities. All cash comes through the utility department. So what you see in front of you again is a policy that identifies in writing all the ways that we collect cash, what should happen with cash, how we should manage cash. It's consistent with other policies we've reviewed. And again, if you read through it, it's simple how to make change, all those items. But again, it's a clear-cut policy on how you should make a deposit, when we should make a deposit, how we should deal with people's personal information, when the safe should be open, how the safe should be open, how many people should be in the safe. It's all the items that are required to say that's our policy, so that clearly the auditors would have ability to say whether we're in policy or compliant with the policy. And at this point, we would recommend approval. And this policy is well written, it's well done, and it'll probably stand the test of time, as opposed to the utility department that needs a little more work.
Good. I'm okay with it. I think it's good to have this policy. I know that there was a couple of findings involved concerning this particular item. So if this addresses those findings, I'm okay with it. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 6425/26 utility billing cash handling policy.
Honorable Angel Hopper. Honorable Rob Pascal.
Oh, all right.
Honorable Destiny Nichols.
Sorry.
Honorable Amanda Forster. Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, what I will also add is our final budget is due by the end of July. We are anticipating having all documents ready for the second meeting in July. And in that meeting, you will be prepared. We'll have a few more policies that need to be added. We have some other documents that, again, are consistent with us moving forward, but also to help us address any of the audit findings. So we're working as diligently as we can with our new auditors to make sure that we're presented, and we're going to be able to present a clean set of books so that we can get these audit findings off. So thanks to the finance team. They're doing a good job addressing them, and we're all working diligently. So be prepared for the second meeting to have more of these items and questions.
Thank
With
you.
that, we're done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:18. We've exhausted all items on our agenda, and this meeting is concluded.
That's the way you do that.